always believed in movement.
So,
my first chapter 12, movement is medicine.
1. This is chapter 12 of my published book, Killing Kate, The Other Side of the Clipboard, co-authored by my deceased sister and I, Kate Lose. She was a doctor of osteopathic medicine, Kansas City, KCUMB. But this year I unpacked a lot and I wrote a book. And it is about suicide. And it is about mind, body, soul. It is me unpacking her words which required me to pull out her files again. The research that we did. That in itself also very difficult. Very, very difficult. But we grow. We find. Here we are. Are you ready? Chapter 12. This is on Amazon. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. Yay, go on your Kindle Unlimited. Okay, here. Ready?
Chapter 12, Movement is Medicine. I've always believed in movement. It was my first language, my sanctuary, my proof of life. Before I ever knew what biomechanics or kinesiology meant, I knew what it felt like to move, to run, to stretch, to feel my heart pounding in rhythm with the earth. Even before I became a physical therapist, movement was how I prayed. When words failed, I ran. When stress built up, I lifted. When pain hit, I stretched until I could breathe again. Movement was my way of talking to God without needing to explain myself. But after Kate died, my body stopped moving. My mind did too. It was as if grief had frozen me in place, locking me in a body that no longer felt like home. For weeks, I couldn't find the motivation to move myself I had lost when she left. One morning, the sun crept through my window, warm against my face. I took a deep breath, a full one, the kind I hadn't managed in months, and something shifted. I stood up, shaky at first, and walked outside barefoot onto the cool grass. The air was crisp, the world impossibly quiet. For a long moment, I just stood there, breathing. Then, without thinking, I began to move. It wasn't exercise. It wasn't therapy. It was something more primal. My feet sank into the earth as I stretched toward the sky, every motion clumsy and slow but filled with intention. My tears mixed with sweat, my breath uneven but alive. It wasn't pretty or perfect, but it was movement. And in that moment, I understood something I had been teaching for years but had forgotten how to live. Movement is not just physical. It's emotional, spiritual. It's the body's way of remembering that it's still here. Movement doesn't always mean running marathons or hitting personal bests. Sometimes it's getting out of bed when the weight of grief tells you not to. Sometimes it's walking to the mailbox. Sometimes it's just taking one deep breath with purpose. When we move, we remind the brain that life is still happening. The heart pumps blood. The lungs expand. The muscles fire. The nervous system reawakens. Movement rewires the story of trauma that lives in the body, replacing fear with flow, paralysis with progress. That realization became my bridge back to purpose. I started walking daily, first 5 minutes, then 10, then more. Each step felt like both rebellion and redemption. I wasn't trying to escape the pain anymore. I was learning to move with it. In those quiet walks, I felt Kate. I could almost hear her laugh in the wind, feel her presence in the rhythm of my stride. She had always moved with grace, even in pain. Her resilience became my compass. Movement, I realized, isn't about recovery, it's about remembrance. Every time I stretch, every time I teach a patient to move again, every time I help someone find strength in their own brokenness, I honor her. I honor the promise I made the night I told her I would keep believing. In the clinic, I began to see movement differently too. It wasn't about perfect form or measurable progress. It was about connection. Each patient who walked through my doors carried their own version of pain, some visible, some not. My job wasn't to fix them. It was to move with them. I started to integrate breathing exercises into every session. I taught people to listen to their bodies, not to fight them. I encouraged laughter, tears, prayer, whatever needed to move through. Healing, I realized, is not a protocol. It's a partnership. The phrase movement is medicine took on new meaning. It wasn't a slogan anymore. It was truth. Movement heals not just the body, but the soul. It reconnects the fragmented pieces of self that trauma and grief try to scatter. It reminds us that we are still capable of change, of growth, of forward motion. For years, I had studied the science behind it, the endorphins, the neural pathways, the biomechanics of gait. But none of that mattered as much as the simple fact that movement is life. To move is to resist despair. To move is to declare, I am still here. Faith and movement became inseparable for me. My prayers no longer needed words, they became embodied. Every stretch, every breath, every step was an act of surrender and strength at once. I stopped trying to move perfectly. I just moved honestly. That became my new therapy, my new faith practice. The mat replaced the pew. The sunrise replaced the sermon. The rhythm of my own breath replaced the choir. God met me there, in the motion, in the mess, in the moment my heart began to beat for something more than survival. And somewhere between one breath and the next, I began to feel alive again. Kate had always believed that healing was more than the absence of pain. Now I finally understood what she meant. Healing is presence, the ability to inhabit your body again, to trust it, to thank it for staying when everything else has fallen away. So I move for her. I move for me. I move for every patient who has ever felt unseen, every soul trapped in stillness, every heart that forgot how to beat freely. Because movement is medicine. Because movement is prayer. Because movement is proof that the story isn't over yet. Reflection, movement versus exercise. Exercise is a chore. Movement is a celebration. Journal prompt. What rules do you have about exercise? Energy. It only counts if I sweat. It has to be an hour. The shift. Break one rule today. Dance in the kitchen for 3 minutes. That counts. Mission to move, the joy shake. Animals shake it off after trauma. We should too. First setup, stand anywhere. Second, the action, start shaking your hands. Then your arms. Bounce on your heels. Shake your hips. Let your head bobble. Third, the science. This discharges excess adrenaline and cortisol stored in the limbs. Fourth, the mantra. I shake off what is not mine to carry.